What's up, guys? It is tax season once again, my friends, and I'm here to tell you JD and Associates LLC Bookkeeping and Tax Services is here to help you this tax season. Don't wait till November 1st. November 1st, you're already too late, my friend. You ain't gonna get your taxes done. So let me tell you how JD and Associates and LLC Bookkeeping and Tax Services can help you. JD and Associates LLC Bookkeeping and Tax Services are located at 4702 West Avenue, number 8, San Antonio, Texas, zip code 78213. You can call them at 210-816-0357. Make sure you call them now. JD and Associates LLC Bookkeeping and Tax Services are here to help you this tax season. Don't go with your vecina who doesn't remember her name, who doesn't even know how to write. She's not going to do your taxes correctly. JD and Associates LLC is here to help you. An official sponsor for DeLoco Podcast, JD and Associates LLC. Guys, it's 2025 and you want to start off with Mas. More energy, more flavor. Guys, you want to head on over to drinkmasenergy.com and use the code word DeLoco10 and get 10% off your order. Now, the flavors that they have right now, we got right here in my hand, we got hibiscus, we got tamarindo back there, and we got mango. You guys are not going to want to miss out on this. 10% off an order on Mas. More energy, more flavor is here to stay and help you in 2025. Mas, an official sponsor for DeLoco Podcast. What's up, guys? Today we have a special announcement. We have an official new sponsor, Countdown SA, with Matt and RJ. Matt, tell us about Countdown.
We're Countdown. We're a local sneaker shop here in Alamo Ranch. Tell them how to find us.
Our address is 11185 Westwood Loop, located on the far west side of San Antonio in Alamo Ranch area. Our socials on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube is at CountdownSA with an underscore. And we are official sponsors now of this guy right here, DeLoco Podcast. So shout out to him. Can't wait to see what this takes us. But there's only one way to shop in the 210.
It's the Countdown way.
Countdown way, baby. Wah!
Come through, come through, come through.
Estás escuchando DeLoco Podcast.
We are ready to rock and roll. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to DeLoco Podcast. This is episode number 83. Welcome back. Those of you that are brand new, welcome to DeLoco Podcast. Thank you guys so much for the love and the support that you guys have been showing on each and every single video on YouTube. So I'd like to thank each and every single one of you right now for Oak Hills Church worship. We got a bunch of views, a bunch of comments. Thank you guys so very much. As well as shout out to the Stud Stash as well for last episode number 82. We had Stud Stash. Shout out to him as well. So you guys are going to want to listen in. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio Podcasts. Do subscribe to DeLoco Podcast on YouTube. Hit the little campanita. You guys cannot miss it. You see the Papi Chulazo on the banner that the Lord sent, angel above. Hit that campanita. Make sure you subscribe. And when you do watch the videos, please like and comment and subscribe. Shout out to our sponsor, JD and Associates LLC, Bookkeeping and Tax Services. Make sure you guys do your taxes. If you don't have a tax guy, hit up JD and Associates. Don't go with your tia, Juanita Panchita.
Is he good?
He's good.
The best
he
in the
doesn't
city?
got carpal tunnel like the tia Juanita. You know what I mean? She can't write. So go with them. Shout out to Countdown SA, our sponsors as well. If you guys need to go get some kicks, there's only one way to shop in the 210, and that is the Countdown way. So if you need some kicks, bro,
Nice.
Countdown way is the only way to do it.
I'm not much of a sneakerhead. I got
No,
my,
you got the botas?
Yeah.
The work
I
botas.
got
Hey,
these here for like years, man.
it happens, dude. It happens. Then, of course, you got Mas. More energy, more flavor.
That's right.
So whatever you need, mango, tamarindo, hibiscus, hit them up as well. masenergy.com. Use the key code word DeLoco and get 10% off your order.
Oh, yeah.
So make sure you do that. So,
Badass.
Keanu, welcome. Not Keanu Reeves. Keanu, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to DeLoco Podcast. For those that are here in San Antonio that are wondering who Keanu is, we're going to find out who he is today. I know he hit us up. It's been about 2 weeks. You want to say 2 weeks now?
Yeah.
You hit us up. You got something special that's happening that we're here to talk about as well, but also to find out about you. So without further ado, who's this Keanu? Who is Keanu?
That's a very introspective question. Shit, dude. I don't know. I guess I'm just a chill guy who likes to do movies and play games. That's about it. Yeah.
So how did you get into the filmmaking then? How did that come about?
Oh shit. So I got into filmmaking when I was a kid. Like, I know that sounds really cliche. But it's true. Like, 6 years old was my earliest memory of making a film stop motion on a Sony Handycam tape camera. It was my dad's old camera because my dad was wanting to be a filmmaker back in the 80s and 90s, the golden era of Hollywood.
Yeah.
He used to work at the Universal lot, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he used to work there he was driving around, the golf carts for the studio tour. And he snuck his way onto a couple sets that he would tell me about. Just that world was just so intriguing to me. Like, and when he introduced me to filmmaking, he gave me this book called Cinematography in the 70s, or I think it was like cinematography is based in the 70s, something like that. Thick 300, 400 page book about, just some of the best shot movies during that era. And it was, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't touch it for like 6 months. And then I was kind of like, I think I'll just I was happy making these like stop motion Lego films. Yeah. And then at some point it just became like, I just got bored. And I was like, I kind of want to do something a little bit more challenging. And so I cracked open the book and I was like, dude, this fucking knowledge isn't useful to me. This is 70s and it's like 05. So it was very funny. But I mean, over time, obviously you can still translate a lot of that knowledge into sort of even modern filmmaking. Yeah. And so it was still very eye-opening, but still kind of funny to sort of consume all of this knowledge from an era that just had nothing to do with me. So yeah, ever since then, it was just kind of I just hit the ground running. I was doing literally anything and everything: skits with family, skits with friends, action movies with friends. I was knocking off movies. I was recreating scenes. I was making my own music videos, and I was doing them all on this little tape recorder. So I have all these tapes still that I plan on revisiting at some point, maybe showing a couple of the early works off. But yeah, so I was just trying to consume as much as I possibly could, as quick as I possibly could. It was a transformative experience, to say the least. And yeah, it just, as most people say, the bug bit me. And as I got older, it just started to just, A, it started to get more expensive, and B, it started to get harder. Because as you get older, you get a little smarter, you get a little bit more self-aware of what's going on in the world around you. So you're like, oh, okay, I want to do this, and then you see this movie, like No Country for Old Men was a movie I saw when I was very little, and around the time that it came out, I saw it sort of unbeknownst to my parents. Dude, that movie changed my life. Have you seen that movie?
So I've never seen that movie, to be honest with you. I've never seen that movie.
Gilbert, what the
I've never seen that movie, man.
You shouldn't have admitted that here on the podcast. I'm just kidding. No, man, yeah, it's a great movie. Just obviously, aside from being acting masterclass, it's one of the few films that doesn't utilize music.
Oh wow.
Right. And so obviously when you watch a movie, that's like secondhand nature is the audio portion of the film. And so when it was just that whole idea of tension building was introduced, it was like floodgates were open. Yeah. I was like, okay, this is what a movie can and should be. And so at a young age, I was trying to chase perfection. And it kind of like it sort of created like this this feeling in me where I was like, well, I can't do it like that. I'm not the Coen brothers. I'm going to take a back seat. Yeah. And so I did for a long, long time. I think, middle school to high school, I didn't touch it. Everything that I was making just wasn't coming close to what was being put out in the theaters. Even on some of these short films I was watching on YouTube, I was like, what in the hell, man? Why? How are these guys doing it? And I was so young and so naive that I didn't realize that. And I was also doing this for the most part alone, shooting, editing. And then, going back to the whole point of getting older, I realized, these guys aren't doing it alone. These guys are doing it with people.
Need a team, yeah.
Exactly. And so as soon as I picked up on that, the work got better. So much better. Trusting other people to do certain jobs, and then coming out of high school, buying my first camera to do it professionally. I bought a Canon T3i, which, if you guys know cameras, is quite the dinosaur, at least at this point.
In 2024. How long ago was that when you bought that one?
Oh man, 2016. So about almost 10 years ago, almost. I bought it with my money, girlfriend's money, parents' money. I think it was like $800 at the time.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was like the biggest spend of my life. I was like, dude, this is game changing. And it was like, I started to push myself out there. I was working at Target, 16, 17. I was 18 at the time, expecting our daughter with my girlfriend.
Okay.
So that's when I knew the foot had to hit the gas real quick, because Target wasn't cutting it. And I knew, like, all right, well, if we're going to do this, then it's got to be, I sort of let all the self-doubt to rest. It was hard, trying to come out of the woodworks, coming out of high school, expecting your first child, and then already sort of discouraging myself so long ago. Like, again, seeing all these movies and stuff I admired, like, shit, this isn't coming out the way that I'm wanting to. And, at a point where I had to make a decision on a career path, I was like, all right, yeah, we're gonna full send this. And so I quit Target, and I'm lying. I did not quit Target. They fired me.
Oh, they fired you.
They fired me.
That's different, yeah.
I was trying to get fired. It's just because I didn't have the balls to say, hey, look, I think I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
And so, I was just doing everything I could, taking like an hour lunch and just slacking off, and definitely learned a lot in terms of character and principle during that time, because I knew if I was going to be doing what I wanted to do, I couldn't be in any sort of aspect of life. I couldn't be cutting corners.
Yeah.
And so I learned very quickly that wasn't gonna cut it. Also, I totally realized after the fact, like, oh, I probably should have kept that job to make a little bit of money, right?
Bit on the side, yeah.
But I guess that shows sort of my ignorance, and two, sort of my hunger for it.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to do nothing but this, so I'm gonna try to ensure that I do nothing but this. And so, got let go. And it worked out. I got very lucky and started to book a ton of local music videos.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, with a bunch of rappers here around the city. That phase of my life was very interesting. I wasn't a rap fan at all, but it was just what was popping here in the city, man. Yeah. Like everybody and their mama wants to do, hey man, come to my house and shoot me up against my living room. Yeah. I got my guns laid out and all my weed. We can do it. And so I was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. And then again, getting older, I was like, I can't. I which wasn't having fun. And two, like I felt like I had exhausted the creative ability within that genre, because I was trying my hardest to sort of push
it was something you were doing, you weren't even enjoying it to do.
And even when I was trying to enjoy it, it was like, how do I make this sort of my own? How do I not, make this another music video at a gas station, another music video at some guy's house? So I would try to convince these guys that were hitting me up, dude, let's do something a little bit more narrative based. Let's write something out. Is there something that like you sort of want to display on screen that you haven't gotten a chance to? And so I was having those conversations with a lot of local artists here. And there was, thankfully, I was very blessed to have, a lot of artists respect that and be like, yeah, dude, let's do something different.
Oh, nice.
And then of course there were the guys that
no,
were still,
they
still wanted what they see on the internet. And so, I would turn them away. I would reject, money coming in, because it was like, I could not bring myself to create just slop, especially since I was doing that very, very minimally in the beginning, because I was just trying to get money. I was saying yes to everything. Yeah, let's do this. Yeah, I'll shoot your rap video in your living room. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I'll shoot it at this gas station. I did that for a couple months, and then just quickly realized that I wasn't getting anywhere stylistically,
Yeah.
visually. And so I really had to come up with a game plan on what my voice was and what I had to contribute visually, because I also just didn't want to be just another shooter, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So at that point when you were doing that, you really fully, I mean, you already knew kind of what you wanted to do, right? But you hadn't fully come to the realization, like you were still kind of getting your feet wet, trying to see where you were at.
Yeah. So it wasn't up until I literally lost every single client, every rap client that was hiring me moved, wasn't interested anymore, or just hired somebody else, because they just went back to that whole that style of just quickly produced content. And I was back to square one. I was like, okay, shit. And that was around the time COVID hit, so that was also a thing where it was like, okay, why am I going to hire, Keanu to do this narrative video for 800 plus when, these guys still wanted their music videos coming out during COVID. So they're going to go hire a videographer 1, 2, and 3 for $100 and get something that's quick that they can throw up on IG. I was very resentful during that point in my life, because I was like, damn, dude, like, not only was this pandemic completely screwing with my business, but it was sort of enabling, I guess, the artists that I was really comfortable working with to sort of just get quick results. And I was like, okay, well, back to the drawing board. So I went back, started to do more films. Felt like I had a lot of experience creating some cool visuals, some cool sequences where I was like, okay, I think I'm going to place what I learned in these 2 years of doing these sort of low budget music videos and start creating more cohesive narrative films. And so that's what I was doing. And it was funny, I was actually picking some rap artists from those music videos to be actors, because some of them were really good. They were like, they impressed me. I was like, dude, you would be good in this role. And so, and honestly, it kept the relationships very authentic, because now I was introducing them to a world that I was like, I was 100% familiar with, and now they were in my ballpark. In
your world, yeah.
Yeah, and so it was quite cathartic, honestly. Very, very, very helpful learning experience. None of those movies were good, by the way. I mean, that's the name of the game. You're just sort of making this stuff to just figure stuff out.
Yeah, figure it out.
And then I completely, I wouldn't say abandoned, but again, just took a more mature backseat. I didn't give up. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna spend a year writing something that I am completely satisfied with, and I wanted to tackle some heavy subject matter. So I started writing my first big film for me, which was titled Smile Now, Cry Later. It was about a man who uses LSD to overcome childhood trauma.
Oh, wow.
Right. So just based on that alone, I was like, okay, cool. I have a really cool sandbox here to play with. How do I make this the most realistic version of this story possible? And that was always the goal, because my thing with the music videos and the films was we were getting to a point visually to where I was satisfied, but it was still lacking in the acting department, in sort of this cohesive narrative that I was trying to build. None of it was believable. And so I was like, okay, if I already spent a year on the script, it's 2021, and I was all right, cool, we're gonna cast. I had to pick the script only focused on 2 actors, so it was very, very
very minimal.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say easy, because it took us 8 months to shoot, but
wow.
that was on purpose, because I told myself, okay, and the 2 actors, us 3 in a meeting, I was like, okay, look, very, very sort of semi personal film. It takes some small aspects of my life. Ultimately, I'm really trying to craft an engaging story. And I need you guys to sort of be open to opening yourselves up to show a level. Just truthfully, I just haven't seen San Antonio actors embrace.
Yeah.
And I say this with the most well-intentioned, is that some of the local actors, I feel like, are a little nervous to just give. And so and I feel that, because I struggled with that a long time.
Yeah.
Where I was so scared of what people might say, what people might think, that at this point of my creative career, I couldn't, and I had to convince the actors that they couldn't either, because if they led with that idea of I'm afraid of what people are going to think of me, I'm scared that my friends are going to judge me because they see a scene of me crying. We had to wash that shit away, because really quickly I was like, again, very serious movie, or at least I was trying to make it one, and it worked, and that's why we spent so long, because around month 4 or 5, it got to the point where I was like, this is amazing. Wow. Like, look what happens when you really take your time.
Take your time on it, yeah.
But then it also allowed me to spend a lot of time in the edit. I was watching scenes that I was happy with, but I was like, this could be better. I would call them back. Hey guys, I think we need to reshoot this scene. And I would invite them over. And instead of like telling them what I thought was wrong, I would have them watch it. And I would literally point to the screen. I said, look, you're breaking right now. I can tell you don't really believe what you're saying. Can we fix that?
Yeah.
And it worked. And so we would reshoot these scenes maybe 3 or 4 times. And around the 4th time, it was perfect. It was almost like, again, ironing out every single kink that you possibly could. And ever since then I was like, oh, okay, spend a little bit more time on it, and it'll come out the way you like. But honestly, I feel like that's sort of what I try to preach to people who ask me, like, how'd you do it? Because when that film came out, it won 3 awards, 1 locally. It unfortunately didn't win any in San Antonio, but it did get a lot of recognition here in the city. I got a lot of love, and I was very, 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 very grateful for that, because again, the journey up until that point was just to craft a story that
just to get it
people
down.
could just take seriously. And it came out to 38 minutes, which in the short film world, that's a bad thing. They don't festivals and people who throw events will try to tell you, like, hey, try to keep it under 15, because if you go over that, there's no guarantee that you're going to keep that audience reeled in for that long. Because technically, obviously, I'm not a professional filmmaker, so I don't really have like a lot of experience keeping an audience engaged for that long. Mm-hmm. So when people were telling me it didn't feel like 38 minutes, I was like, oh shit, that's amazing. That's the best compliment you can possibly get.
They were fully engaged in the
38 minutes. And people were like, it's over? And I'm like, yeah, it is, I guess. And I still I actually just went back and watched it, and I still feel that way. I'm again very proud of the time we took and the structure it has, and up until that point, I had achieved what I was always trying to prove to myself, was I can do it. I can do it. But now it's like, okay, how can we level that up? Because that's how us filmmakers are. We're never satisfied with the one thing. We always gotta level it up. So yeah, that's how I came to Edge of Darkness. Full circle, just leveling it up until I was like, okay, yeah, I can keep an audience engaged that long. Let's try to do something crazier. Let's try to adapt a video game. Yeah.
So in adapting this video game, like, what did you already have people already, like, that you already were intertwining with, like, hey, let's try to.
So now that I kind of caught you up to speed to kind of where my sort of genesis was, it's funny because along that journey, I was writing the script for this adaptation, but it, again, sticking to the whole theme of being young and old, I was very, very young. I started writing it in 2017, but then I rewrote it a year ago, because when I came back to reread it, this is not very good. And it just missed a lot of the marks. Obviously, I was a kid, I was a teenager, not really, soaking in what the world was.
Yeah.
And I'm 26 now, still a kid, but obviously much more self-aware to what the world has to offer and what I want to say. And so I came back to refine it. And to be honest with you, I was not really sure that I wanted to do a video game movie, because just saying it out loud is kind of weird in a way, because if you just sort of take a look at some of my colleagues or just some of the guys that are doing films here in San Antonio, video game and movie are not in the same sentence.
No.
Nobody's doing. Actually, I'm lying. There's an acquaintance of mine that I don't know very well, but I've been watching him from afar. He did a short film on a video game called Rainbow Six Siege. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
No.
Huge game on Xbox, PC, and all platforms. But I think it was based in here, and that's the only film that I can think of off the top of my head that was shot here in Texas. And I think the director lives here in San Antonio. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, so it's been done once before, but just not on this scale because it started off as a fan film.
Okay.
And it was always my intention to just sort of honor the game. Game's called Escape from Tarkov. It's one of my favorite games of all time. One of, not my favorite game, but one of. And it came out in 2017, so right around that time where I was sort of having this self-conflicting, identity crisis for myself on what I was going to pursue. I was unhealthily addicted to this video game. But the story and just the overall world was just so interesting to me. I couldn't not think about a movie. Every single time I boot it up, I'm like, man, dude, a movie about this would be so cool. And then about a year ago when Smile Now Cry Later was done and we had finished our festival circuit and it was time to talk about, okay, what are we going to do next? How are we going to push the envelope and is pushing the envelope even necessary? Should I consider doing something small or should I really aim for the stars? And I had initially I was not going to do Edge of Darkness at all. I was going to save it until I was very much so well established later on in my career. However, I had a meeting with a filmmaker friend of mine here in San Antonio, AJ Garcias. Shout out to him. We had a Zoom meeting. I was just trying to pick his brain. He had done so much amazing work up until that point, so much more professional and on a level that I was trying to get to professionally. And it's like, dude, look, I've got this script, and I've got this idea. I need you to be honest with me. You're the guy who's doing it. He lives up in Toronto. He's from here. He moved up there, and he owns a VFX house up there. And he's shooting with all the latest tech, all the latest gadgets. I don't know if you've seen the virtual wall that, I don't know. Have you seen Mandalorian? Are you familiar with that world?
Mandalorian, no. This is on you, my brothers, or my brother Gil and my brother Heido. They're the gamers. They're the gamers of my brothers, right? There's 4 of us, so they're the gamers. That's why I found it intriguing that you're wanting to make an actual film of a game, because that for me is like, okay. I mean, the animated is real hot right now. Mm-hmm. All that stuff is coming out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things that they're changing the game of. This idea, I know it's not a first, right? You just said that right now. It's not a first, but now people are wanting to be able to see that. They started off with, these animated series like Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, and then they turn them into an actual movie, not just 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. So for you to be able to kind of take that script and take it to your friend and be able to start working on something, because it's already complete, right?
No. So that's the thing is we haven't shot anything. We've spent all this time planning it. So that way when it's ready to shoot, it's game time.
Oh, nice.
And that's because of the nature of the movie. It's a video game adaptation, so we had to start work very, very early.
Oh, wow.
And building a video game world and translating that to real life is not easy. So you have to source crew for somebody on crew to get costumes. You have to talk to prop guys. You have to talk to weapons trainers, because it's a first-person shooter, so you're dealing with a lot of military personnel.
Yeah.
And then talking with those military personnel and trying to explain to them that we weren't trying to do this. We weren't trying to. There's this stigma with video game adaptations, and rightfully so, that they're not really they're not really what's the word I'm looking for? They're not really fleshed out all the way. And the people that are in charge of these video game movies are you know, not very familiar with the world, yet they're trying to create a film based on something they're completely unfamiliar with. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Again, with the track record of kind of what they have become, is just not good. Obviously, we've got some great examples as of recently. Last of Us, Fallout, Arcane, Cyberpunk has an anime series on Netflix. You know, and then we have ones that are sort of the bad apples, Halo. What's another one that I can think of that's not very good? Anything that U-Bowl has done, I'm sure if you guys are filmmakers, anything that U-Bowl, he's a director back in the day who would notoriously make awful video game adaptations. But yeah, stuff like that we're not really following. We're trying our hardest not to be affected by one, studio politics. That's really honestly what gets these video game movies in trouble most of the time. Is you've got these suits and ties who are not gamers at all, that are making decisions on behalf of the gamers, which I guess to some point it is their money, it's their project, they can do whatever the hell they want with it. However, it does, there is a point in saying like, we're just going to pick this property up just to make money. And so that's what we didn't want to do. Obviously, being a huge fan of the game itself, I knew the responsibility very early on. And my filmmaker friend AJ, he gave me the courage to do it. He was like, the script realistically, logistically isn't impossible. Like if all you really have to do is just source this crew very early, and I think you've got something very workable. So
you already have the crew, do you already have the cast, you already have all this? How many people are going to be in this?
So we've got it's exciting. We've got I think we've got like 30 people on crew. We've got like 15 people on cast. Overall, like around 45 people. And it's constantly changing. We might be adding some. Everybody who's on the project has been on the project for about a year and a half now.
Okay.
Everybody has been just amazing with their time, their patience. Because I think they trust the project. Well, I'm lying. There is a huge thing that did happen that sort of changed how everybody looked at it. Because again, I had mentioned to you it was supposed to start off as a fan film. Again, I was just a fan trying to showcase my love for the game. However, I knew like it'd be so cool to just get the guys who made the game, Battle State Games, I know you're not familiar with the game, but little story time. I don't know how to say this without sounding like a dick. Sorry, BSG. Look, I gotta be honest with what happened. So, when we had started the movie, something had happened within the community of the game.
Oh, okay.
They had released sort of like this pay-to-win version of the game, and I don't know if you're familiar with sort of like monetization.
Yeah, monetization. Yeah.
People generally don't like it. Why am I paying $60 to then pay another $20 for skins and this and that and the third? People, you spend your money however you want. However, Battle State, they released their version of sort of a microtransaction. It did not go over very well with the community. In fact, we were very nervous that it was going to affect how people were going to see the movie. And we were very close to revealing it to fans in the community and starting to spread the word within sort of these little sort of small sub communities like Reddit, Discord, all that good stuff. And then, so it was just a really scary time. Community wasn't very happy with the developers. Developers were trying to do damage control. And they did. Fast forward a couple months, they made everybody happy. They made a lot of changes that people were asking for. So all is good. However, I did use that to my advantage. Since the community was very reasonably upset with the developers, the show Fallout had just come out. And that shot up the game's numbers immensely. That show did wonders for the game. And Fallout is a single player game, so a lot of people were sort of surprised at the fact that this show came out of nowhere. One was good, and two sort of reinvigorated this community. And so it's like, that's interesting. So I called up my unit production manager, Manuela, Shout out to her. She's the one that really gave the project the meat and the bones. She gave the project a lot of legitimacy. She did the budget, she did the crew sheets, like everything that you would need to make a movie legit to somebody you're trying to introduce it to, she did. Pitch deck, everything that I sent you, she was responsible for.
Oh wow.
Minus like the marketing content, that was Stride Studios, but yeah, she really was an all-star player and did a lot of heavy lifting. And so I went to her and I was like, look, this obviously we're nowhere near as big as Fallout. Obviously, we don't got Amazon behind us, but I was like, you know, can we get some numbers on this? Like, how well did this show? How well did it do to just explode this game? We need to find out logistically so we can bring those numbers to BSG. Because if we can pitch this idea that, again, we're not trying to create sort of this average video game adaptation. We're really trying to craft a really compelling narrative around it. Would it be possible that we could sort of reinvigorate the community with a project like this? And so I pulled up my phone, went on Twitter, and some of the devs were being really active on Twitter because they were, again, doing damage control. And so I tweeted at them. I was like, hey, you guys, would love to meet with one of you. We're doing this movie based on your game. We've got some numbers on kind of what Fallout did for the game, and we think that with our story and pitch deck and team that we have so far, we think that, you know, this could be really good for the community given what has happened. I think you guys need some good faith here. And so they hit me back. A couple hours later, I was actually in a meeting with the prop guys for the movie. And I was talking to them.
They messaged you back?
Yeah. So we were talking, I was talking to the prop guys about some of the weapons we were talking about using in the movie. And they're huge fans of the game. And which is why they had said yes to you know, bringing props in. Yeah. And my phone goes off and I'm like, oh shit. Okay. So I take a glance at it and it says, Dimitri is it's a Russian based game. So all these guys are Russian.
Oh.
Sorry guys, I know.
Oh man, watch out.
I know, makes me a little uncomfortable. Yeah. So it said Dimitri accepted your DM, and he sent me a message saying, "Hey, let's talk." That was it, and I was like, I just started screaming at the top because I felt comfortable.
Yeah, you felt comfortable.
If it was anybody else, I would have just been like, guys, I'll take 5. Yeah. Mute my mic, and I would have just screamed my ass off. But no, again, these guys were huge fans of the game, so I was freaking out. I was like, guys, they just hit BSG, just hit me back, and they were like, no effing way, are you serious? Show me. So I'm over here pointing the phone to the camera, and they're like, holy shit. And so I texted them. I was like, give me 5 minutes. I'm like, all right, let's talk. We can do Zoom. We can do this. We can do that. Quickly set up a meeting and pitch the project. And we told them that. And so this is where things get really interesting, actually. So Battlestate Games had invested about 100 grand, into a movie themselves based on the game. It was called Escape from Tarkov Raid, and they self-funded it completely. And it was interesting. We were like, we knew immediately. Obviously, me being a huge fan, I was like, we knew the first question they were going to ask us was, how is this going to be different? Because, you know, in my mind, or I guess in anybody who had any sort of self-awareness, is why were they going to let some kid from Texas adapt their game, and B, is it worth their time?
Yeah, is it worth it?
Yeah. And so we hopped on the meeting, and they were like, okay, tell us what you want to do. And I was like, okay. So we ran through myself, Manuela, our unit production manager, and then Christian Schreider, our executive producer. All three of us had a very cohesive strategy. I was going to handle the story and the vision. Manuela was going to handle the logisticals, and Christian was gonna put a nice little bow on it. He was sort of our saving grace, because Christian, again, he's a studio head. He leads Stride Studios and has a lot of great work, commercial, narrative, the whole 9 yards. And so he's got a lot of influence behind him.
Yeah.
And so I knew that if he liked it and could sort of convey that what we were doing was worth their while, then I knew that we were in the clear. And yeah, we went through the meeting. The meeting was like an hour. I told them, look, we're trying to. I said, first of all, we're trying to do a completely different story, not a reboot, but just sort of because I know when I say reboot, people get scared.
Yeah, everybody doesn't like reboots. Nobody likes reboots.
People get nervous. But it's not a reboot. We're not adapting a different story. We're just focusing on different characters.
Oh, okay.
So the story from the game is the same. And what's funny is that the game doesn't actually have a story mode. It's a lot of it is found within sort of map exploration, quests that you get from different characters in the game.
You're gonna actually create an actual story.
Yeah, and you sort of piece it together if you want. If not, it's a multiplayer only game, so you can just sort of play it as a multiplayer game and not really care about the story. That was my biggest sell to them, was like, okay, you guys have this cohesive world, and some people can't even tell me what the game's about. And so I was like, okay, that's the first thing we got to figure out is that's what I wanted to focus on. And I also had to find a way to respectfully say that Raid is great. Their version is fantastic, technically, visually. There's just one thing that people that tell us and are vocal about when they do watch their version is that I don't know what's going on. And to me, I was like, and I had to tell them that I was like, guys, your version was, again, everything I just said, visually, technically, and everything great, but some people were very confused on how this adds to the lore, and some people walked away not even getting anything from the story, and so that was the first thing we had to sort of figure out was how do we respectfully recover or retread the same waters without making them feel like we're trying to do it better than them. Yeah. Because obviously that's not the intention. The intention is to add on to
the goal is to make it the best.
Right. Yeah. I guess it is to make it the best, but to say it would be better, you just kind of want to, be as cordial as you can about it.
Everything you guys are going to do, you're going to shoot it here in San Antonio? Or you guys are going to have an actual location?
We're bouncing around. So part of it is some of the bigger action sequences are going to be shot in Houston.
Okay.
Some of the
shootings will take place here as usual.
But like the action? No, actually not. No. We have some scenes being shot here, but I'm gonna be honest, and maybe this is a time where I can put the ball in somebody else's park. We were trying to shoot here, but everybody was like, no, we're not interested. And so we were like, damn, bro, our own city is kind of charging us up the ass and driving us away. Wow. And so, yeah. And obviously I don't want to name names, but it does come at it like, okay, well, now we have to pay for people to go to Houston. Now we got to pay for people to go to Lavernia. So yeah, it does. It's not that we didn't want to shoot in San Antonio. If I had it my way, would love to shoot here. Yeah. We've been looking at some locations here specifically in San Antonio. That
we're gonna shoot at certain spots or like abandoned places or.
Abandoned places that we were trying to get rightful permission. We were calling the city. I was getting in hold of waste management. I was trying to get a hold of people that knew this guy, and we just needed to talk to somebody that owned the property because all we really had to do was just negotiate. Hey, look, this is what we're trying to do. Yeah. It's abandoned already. You guys are not using it. You're really going to get upset over 30 people shooting blanks, or fake guns. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, and on top of that, they were going to be making money. So it didn't make any sense for us to, or it didn't make any sense for them to
deny it.
To deny it, or at least not consider it. Because they didn't even give us a yes or no. They just didn't even give us the time of day. So yeah. Yeah, we're going to be bouncing around all over San Antonio, or all over Texas, I should say.
All over Texas, yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting, dude.
Yeah.
It really is exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I mean, congratulations that you're able to actually do it, right? Because it's one thing to say it and then for you to actually put into action and play.
Right.
To be able to move forward with all the logistics and everything behind it. Because, I mean, I get it, right? Everybody loves films. Netflix is like, now they're creating their own. It's just Netflix thing, right? So right now Netflix is like the top dog for you to, man, we get a film for Netflix to make it. they write it and whatnot. There's
sure.
a bunch of logistics behind it, so I do get it. I do get it, man. But before we continue, we ask a little bit more questions. What we're gonna do is I want people to see actually what you and your team are gonna be doing. So everybody that is watching and listening right now, you're gonna get a sneak peek of what Keanu and his team are doing. So right now, you're about to see that clip.
So we've been working really hard over the last 9 months, and I cannot wait to bring you guys into this insane creative journey. Hello everybody, my name is Keanu Cordero, and I am the writer and director of Edge of Darkness.
We're getting independent crowdfunding to support this film, but we aren't holding anything back. We're bringing out all the stops. We want this film to look big budget and incredibly produced as any other theatrical film.
Learning about the storyline, especially with the fan-based film, you want to make sure you get your details right.
The diligent cast that we're getting, the stunt coordinators, the high level and accurate props, everything's incredibly precise. Every dime is accounted for.
What makes a great video game and what makes a great movie is all the thought that goes behind production design and set design. We have an amazing art team, an amazing props team, and we've taken into account everything that makes Tarkov, Tarkov.
Now you may be asking yourself, why do we need all this money? Well, we're going to be allocating all of these resources to professional crew, locations. Making a film isn't an easy task, and we're going to be employing a ton of people to bring the quality that I think Escape from Tarkov deserves. One of the goals for the Kickstarter campaign, being a huge fan of the game, I wanted fans to be able to sort of acquire tokens from the game that we can see in real life.
Creating Tarkov in Texas is a big task, and that's why we're asking for fans to support our Kickstarter. With your support, we know we can bring to life the version of Tarkov the fans deserve. We feel so strong about this vision, the fans are going to be thrilled to see it too.
All right, man, so Edge of Darkness, everybody's going to see it. Sounds like Tukukui, but it will be okay. Edge of Darkness. So with your the question that I have, right, there's two main ones here. With your cinematography and stuff like that you have in your background, how are you going to be able to balance that out with the game and then with what you visually want it to look like? Like, how's that going to work?
That's an exciting question, dude, because I love talking about it. So that's one of the things that we had mentioned to be a she, is that sort of falls in the question, how is it going to be different? And so anybody who's seen Escape from Tarkov Raid will know immediately that it the way that it's shot is not, it's shot, all of it's handheld. So the camera is constantly moving. And so a lot of people do complain about sort of the war fatigue, this sort of effect that you're like, a lot is going on and you can't focus on what's going on. So right off the bat, I said, we're getting rid of that. This movie has to be shot on a tripod, or if we're going to be moving, it's got to be on Steadicam. So that way we can get rid of that shakiness, and we can really sort of envelop the audience into the world of Tarkov. And the game is famous for its map design. If you just sort of look it up and just take a gander at sort of what the game is about, you'll notice extremely detailed maps. And if you get a chance to play the game and wander around, it's even more detailed. There's small things, children's cribs that are abandoned, small details on what might have happened to even like a lone car that has graffiti on it. Just small things like that add an incredible amount to an already vast world. And so when I was talking to Christian and Manuel on the team, I told them, this entire movie has to be, we got to be patient with it, and we got to treat the audience with that same respect. And even the action. I'm a huge fan of films like Sicario, Stalker, and most recently, I don't know if you saw, I got a chance to see Warfare. Amazing films. But they all have something in common, and the camera, for the most part, is steady. It's letting you bake into that tension and really letting you soak up that world. And then obviously secondly is sound design. But to answer your question more cohesively, we're really taking the time with crafting sequences that aren't so fast and shaky, but are more thought out and paced in a way to where it feels more cinematic. And we can really rely on that tension.
Those are always good. Cinematic is good.
Yeah.
Cinematic is always good.
Yeah.
So the second most important question, of course, that everybody's going to be wondering and asking is, what, when, and where can people be able to see this film and when? I mean, I don't know if you guys already have a timeline of what you want to put it out or whatnot.
We do. So again, Kickstarter's launching May 5th. We'll be open for 2 months. It'll end July 5th, and we're scheduled to shoot in September. Excuse me. I think I'm a pretty fast editor. We're trying to get it out by January, February of 26.
Oh wow.
Yeah. If not, at least by spring of 26. We have some in-person premieres planned. I can't say where yet, just because we haven't officially confirmed where. But they're going to be local theaters here. So like, I can say who we're talking to, and obviously, you can follow our account at EFT Fan Film for confirmation on these places. But we're talking to City-based cinemas. I think I just butchered that name. Flix Brewhouse.
Okay.
Bricket Blue Star, and there's one more that I forgot. But yeah, just a lot of the local chains here in San Antonio. Those guys have been super supportive in the past on previous film premieres. So yeah, we're looking at getting some pretty awesome premieres in San Antonio, and then that also doesn't include, like, we're going to be submitting the film to festivals.
Oh, okay.
So if you're around, we're going to be submitting it to festivals in LA, New York, New Mexico,
nice.
The big film states. So if you're in those states, keep an eye out, because it may be coming to a festival near you.
Oh, nice.
And then when it's all said and done, when the festival run's complete, it's going to be premiered for free on YouTube. So yeah, because legally we can't make any money off of it yet. So
yeah.
we gotta. But BSG allowed us to do some really badass things with their property. Like we're able to sell physical discs, physical copies of the film.
Oh wow!
At our premieres, yeah, I
thought you said floppy disc, because I
don't know
what you're gonna do with those.
Taking it back, right?
What you gonna do with those?
No, like a Blu-ray of the film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, fans will be able to pick up a Blu-ray copy on the Kickstarter and in any in-person premiere event that we'll be having in the future. Yeah, so in-person premiere in San Antonio. Any upcoming festivals, obviously, we'll confirm those on our socials, and then when it's all said and done, for free on YouTube.
Awesome, man. If you want to quickly put in where people can find you at, where they can find everything that you guys are doing.
Which camera do I look at?
You can look at that's your camera right there.
You can follow me at Keanu Cordero. It's just my first and last name. Really simple. I fought really hard for that. Paid some guy like an incredible amount of money. Just kidding. No, I actually had to stalk that username for years until I got it. And then at EFT Fan Film, all one word, no spaces, no underscores, on all platforms, X, TikTok, and Instagram, and Facebook. You can find every single update on the movie there. We cross-post everything, and we try to keep the fans as engaged as possible. And then I also live stream, because being a huge fan of the game, I've never seen a filmmaker get in touch with the community like this ever, mainly because all of them are old and don't know how to play games. And so I was like, dude, we should. I've been streaming on Twitch for years, and so it just sort of was a no-brainer. But my Twitch handle is not my name. It's at Goobersnout, GOOBER Snout.
Snout. Well, that's a Twitch name.
I know. I mean, it was just it felt right.
Yeah.
And that's my alter ego. That's who I am. Late nights when I play Tarkov, and so I love connecting with the community on Twitch, because I also feel like it gives a more raw interaction.
Yeah,
because you can't really convey the movie in just a short amount of time. So I love talking with people on Twitch. People come in chat and they ask about it, like, hey, so how's this gonna work? And I'll happily explain it and happily engage. And to me, it's even more fun to do it while playing the game.
Yeah,
it's just it's a full circle moment for me, and being just a huge nerd for the game and having this opportunity is honestly nothing short of a dream, to be honest. So
it's awesome,
very exciting.
Man. You guys follow this guy that's right here, Keanu. Now Keanu Reeves, Keanu Cordero. So thank you, man, for coming, sharing what you guys are doing here. Hopefully San Antonio, somebody opens up its doors for you guys to be able to film some way, somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So we see how that happens. You're doing stuff here in San Antonio. So kudos to you and your team. This is a friendly reminder. I tell all my guests tell everybody that's listening in, man, it's 2025. I encourage everybody to seek after the Lord. He's got some great plans for each and every single one of you. You especially. He knows who you are. He knows you by name. He's here for you. He's not against you. So I highly encourage you, man. Seek him. If you're not plugged in, I encourage everybody that's listening, as well as my friend here, is to get plugged into a local church, wherever that be, south side, east side, north side, wherever that may be. Get plugged into a church.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was not plugged in up until very recently.
Really?
Yeah, I was very famously. Well, I mean, to be honest, I grew up Catholic.
Okay.
So I wasn't always a non-believer, but again, sticking to the theme of getting older. As I got older and as I started to get more exposed to sort of the rights and wrongs of religion, I started to step more away from it. But then my first reintroduction to it was actually when my daughter was born, because I had her at 18, and parents were obviously not very happy at the time. It was a pretty impactful moment for my life. But I knew deep down, if it was, because I have two brothers, and my oldest brother has two boys. And so my mom has always wanted a granddaughter. So I was like, look, if I got on my knees and I prayed to the man upstairs, and I said, look, man, I know I haven't really been active, but I'm seeking you now because I really need a favor, man. Like well, that's not to say that if it was a boy, it would have been any different.
Yeah, no, I get you.
But I knew that if it was a girl, my life would be much easier.
Yeah.
So I was like, look, man, I really need a favor here. And I'd given him a promise. I was like, look, man, I'll be present for you if you can just save my life right now, because I really need it. And then so then I just sort of started stepping more into that path. And then my daughter just got baptized this last week.
Nice.
So that's very exciting. I'm very proud of her, and again was reintroduced to the Lord again as with Edge of Darkness, wanting it to work. Prayed to him. I said, look, man, I need a favor. And then we had the meeting with BSG, and they said yes. And so even when we went to the ultrasound appointment and they said that she was a girl, it was sort of like and you could say that that's a coincidence, but there's so many coincidences in my life that happened after.
It's God's plan, man.
Yeah, when you're plugged in. Yeah, so I appreciate that, and that's a good message to spread.
Yeah, it's God's plan, man. I encourage you to continue to seek him.
I am.
I encourage every single one of you to seek him. This is just a friendly reminder that God loves you. God loves you, my friend. Dios Te Ama. He's got great plans for you.
Likewise, man.
You know what I mean? He's got great plans for you, and I still encourage you to seek after him. I know you're doing so, and I encourage you to continue to do that. It's the best decision you're gonna ever make. So this is just a friendly reminder that God loves you. Dios Te Ama, and we will see you on episode number 84.
But I couldn't have anybody see my face, Steven. Come on.